All right, so trauma dumping versus venting. We ready? There's a few key points that we need to pay attention to make sure that we are venting and not trauma dumping. Because for the most part, venting, like you guys said, is socially acceptable. Trauma dumping, it has its time and place. But for the most part, we want to try to avoid it unless it follows certain circumstances. For example, one of the key factors that makes the difference between trauma dumping and venting is the intensity and duration. 1R. Like that. Alright? So the more intense that it is, it's like where it's like super heavy information. You are telling very intensely personal information about yourself. That could potentially be more along the lines of trauma dumping. And also duration. It takes forever. It's not just a 10-minute vent of, oh my God, I hate my boss and work is so hard and I have so much to do. Anywho, how's your day? Right? No. With trauma dumping, it's more so going on and on and on for hours on end. Right? So, intensity, duration. So you want to make sure that you are making it more short and less intense. You say your piece and you move on. Okay? And the next thing is purpose. All right? So, you want to be open to advice. Purpose. Open to advice. And avoid emotional manipulation. So, no manipulation. Because sometimes people will use trauma dumping to emotionally manipulate you. Either they will do it to get empathy from you, to make you give them your time, your energy, your thought, your emotional capacity, or they could actually be trying to get you to share what your traumas are, what experiences you've been through, to figure out what triggers you to behave in certain ways, to experience certain emotions like anger or upset or hurt or anything like that. So it might be that they are trying to carry on a quote-unquote conversation with you where they are asking you very personal, in-depth questions. And you're like, wow, they are such a great listener. We talked for hours. But did we talk or did you talk? And if you talked, what keys to your psyche did you give them during those several hours? You're basically letting them into your brain so they know exactly what to say and what to do to hurt you the most. So you want to be very cautious of who you share that information with, right? The next thing is be considerate of the listener. So, you want to do a few things. You want to ask for permission. You can't just call somebody up and say, oh my God, this and that happened and this and that happened. And they're like, whoa, hang on. I'm at work right now. I can't talk to you about this, right? So you want to make sure you ask them, hey, do you have a few minutes? I'm going through a lot of stuff right now and I just need somebody to talk to. Can we discuss this? Do you have time right now? All right, so you want to ask for the permission first. You also want to be aware of their current state. So their emotions. Maybe your friend's father just passed away and you're going to call them up complaining about how you just failed a quiz? Like, really? That's not being very conscientious of what they're experiencing at this moment. You also want to be conscientious of their experiences. All right. So maybe you just went through something that was deeply traumatic to you, and you need somebody to talk to. However, maybe they also went through a perhaps similar traumatic experience. Maybe they also have been sexually abused, but they're still working through it. They can't support you while you work through your emotional trauma while they're still going through their own, right? So you have to be aware of experiences that they've had. Also, considering their experiences, going back to their father just died, for example. I keep going back to that because I made this lecture during a time that my father had recently passed away. So it was freshly on my mind. So if their dad just died, and you go and talk to them about the fight that you just had with your dad and how much he's a pain in your ass and how annoying he can be, that's not really taking into consideration their experience. Maybe they didn't even have a father growing up and they're thinking, what the hell are you complaining about? At least he's in your life, right? So you want to be aware and cognizant of their personal experiences as well. The next thing is their time. If they have a 15-minute lunch break to go out to their car, drive to the store, get some food, shove it into their face, and then rush back to work, they do not want to spend their lunch break talking to you about your boyfriend that you broke up with yet again, like you did last week. And they told you not to go back to him, and you ignored them, and you went back to him, and then he cheated on you again, right? They don't have that kind of time in their life, okay? They have other shit to do.
I actually had to experience that with one of my friends, and
Yeah.
she kept staying with that guy.
It's very common. Very common. We actually discussed why that is in later lectures as well. All right, what else do we have? Oh, the intimacy level. I'm running out of space here. We might have to turn this a little. There we go. All the way up to that bar now. Boom. Woo. All right. So the next thing is the level of intimacy. Intimacy. So, with the level of intimacy, there are a few things that you need to take into consideration. How long have you known them? N-G-T-H. Length of friendship? No. Relationship. Is that what you just said?
Yes.
Nice. Jinx. Owe me a Coke.
I only have Pepsi.
Yeah. All right, so the level of intimacy depends on how long have you known them. So I'm going to give you guys a personal story of me meeting my friend Sophie for the very first time. It was her first day on the job, and I was going to be her supervisor. But I had just had a really rough day. So she's getting the tour of the tutoring center, and I'm walking in there. I'm all flustered, and she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm not. My ex-boyfriend of 13 years, who we had a really bad relationship with, he was basically borderline abusive, and he just showed up at my work, and I'm so scared right now, and like, I think he might be stalking me." And I'm like, I'm sorry. I need a minute. I just lost my tooth. Anyone see it? Thank you. Woo.
Oh, I thought that was part of your story that you
Oh,
lost
I
your
wish.
tooth.
Sorry.
I was confused for a bit.
Well, this lecture video is not getting posted online. Maybe for our class. Because this is going to be like your guys' favorite memory of. Remember, my favorite class was that day that your tooth popped out in the middle of the lecture. It was great.
I'm gonna write that on my final exam.
You
What
could.
everybody your ex-boyfriend knocked your tooth out?
Yeah, I mean, he was borderline abusive and knocked my fucking tooth out. No. Just the ability to laugh at yourself. All right. So, again, Sophie. Her very first day on the job. That was how we met. By the way, I'm Bobby. I'm your supervisor. Of course, she was like, whoa.
Her expectations must have been rock bottom for you.
Yeah. So she was terrified of me for the first week of us working together. So she got to know me a little bit better. And she's like, okay, she's not crazy. She just had a really bad day. Right? So time goes on. Years later, we're now friends. Not super close friends, but like, we work together. We like each other. She's cool as shit, right? But then she has her own personal experience. I'm not going to share her story with you guys because I haven't asked her for permission to share her story. But she went through an experience where she knew I would be the best person to talk to because she knew my story. And so, because of the experiences that I had gone through, not only did she know that I would be a great person for advice on how to handle her own situation, but she also trusted me with that information. All right? Because I shared something personal about myself, she felt comfortable sharing something personal about herself. And I helped her through that situation. And now, we're like this. In fact, because of our situations, we became trauma bonded. We established a very close, intimate relationship because of the traumatic experiences in our lives. So, trauma bonding isn't all bad because she's amazing. I love her and she loves me, and that's great. So sometimes bad experiences can lead to deeper connections. And the next thing is the context of the relationship. So, you really need to take into consideration, how do you know this person? Are you friends? Colleagues? Maybe your dentist? For example.
Are you saying you don't trauma dump to your dentist? Have I been doing you wrong this entire time?
Yeah. For this example, my mom had to get some wisdom teeth pulled one day. And so we go to the dentist. I'm her driver, so I'm there with her. And the dentist is looking at her teeth before the exam, before she has any drugs, mind you. He's like, so, how is things going in your life? Oh, it's okay. I think my husband's cheating on me, though. And I'm not really sure what to do about it. But I think I might leave him. Mom, that's your dentist. It's okay, we're friends. No, that is your dentist. He is a professional who is working on your mouth. You are not friends. You do not hang out with each other outside of the dentist's office. This is the only time you see him, once every 6 months, to get your teeth cleaned. Context of the relationship matters. All right, next step. Oh, I have like 1 minute left. The last but not least is time, location, and method, meaning the modality.
Didn't you cover time with the duration?
Kind of.
Or is it
But
like
time-
the time of the day?
Time of the day. So whether it's, first thing in the morning, the middle of the day, usually in the evening, maybe having drinks with your friends on a Friday night, maybe it's 3 o'clock in the freaking morning and you're calling your friend. Be aware of the time of day. Not to mention the location. Are you guys in a public place? Are you in a coffee shop? Or are you in the privacy of your own home, sipping tea and eating brownies or chocolate ice cream straight out of the tub, right? Also, the method. Usually, face-to-face is the best way to have these conversations. You do not want to call them on the phone while they're at work, right? You want to make sure that you have a way of communicating that won't be interrupted. Especially if they're driving home from work and you know darn well that there's a spot in the road where they lose service every single time, and now you're freaking out because you think they hung up on you. Right? So you want to be aware of the time, location, and the method. Biggest thing is know your boundaries. All right, class is dismissed, by the way, so I'm going to talk as you guys are getting up and getting ready to go. Make sure you are aware of what you are comfortable with, the state of your own emotions. Know when to say, hey, listen, I don't have the emotional capacity to talk to you about this right now. How about we talk tomorrow? Make sure you set boundaries with others, yourself, and be aware of emotional manipulation. All right, that'll be it. Thank you.
Thank you.